Hey, what's up, geeks? Darron Brown here, and in this video we're going to cover how to deal with haters as you level up. Now, the reason I'm covering this topic is because whether it's software development, it can be physical fitness, it can be anything else that you have going on in your life, you're going to get outside influences that try to discourage you. And I'm going to discuss with you the outside influences that I've dealt with, how I dealt with them, and also the type of where those negative influences were coming from. So let's get into it. Now, the first type of hater I'm going to talk about is the outside influencer. Now, this is somebody that's not necessarily in your social group, it's not a family member, but let's say you're in college, or you're at work, or there's just somebody that you interact with routinely. You're going to get people who just don't like themselves, and they have an idea of who they are and who you are and what their relationship is in life in regards to you. So when you tell people that you're going to do something, or they see you doing something that they don't necessarily expect you to be doing, you're going to make them feel some type of way. And it's because most likely it's because you're doing something that they know that they should be doing or they should be working on, and they're trying to bring you down. Now, the way to deal with them, honestly, is just to not care, really not give a fuck, because these people, honestly, because they're not necessarily in your social circle, you're going to get comfortable. As you continue to be successful in your life, you get successful in, say it's in software development, or you're learning an instrument, or you're doing any kind of thing. You're going to get these type of people who are going to try to discourage you, and they're like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Or they're going to say, good luck, or, things like that. That just comes with the territory. So if you're dealing with somebody that's like that, honestly, you have to discipline yourself to not let people who really aren't even in your life have so much control over how you feel. That's really, because honestly, I even deal with that. There's people who have an idea of me, like, for example, there's people who, I've had interviews with companies, and they would look at me and be like, oh, you code? I don't get that too much because I had the experience, but when I first started as a software developer and I was trying to get my first job, I did get companies who looked at me and they were like, oh, you look like you should be a bodybuilder. You look like you should be an athlete or something like that. You don't look like you should be you should be able to code. And that's what you're going to get. We have American archetypes, and a part of our archetype, we just have a look that we expect when we hear somebody as a software developer. Usually somebody who doesn't have athletic bone in their body, or somebody who is not necessarily in the best shape, or somebody that has bad social skills, etc. We have stereotypes. So you're going to get people who are going to see you doing things outside of the norm, or they're going to have an idea exactly. They have an idea of who you are already, and then they're going to try to keep you where you're at. Now, dealing with hate from friends and family, this is the hardest thing to do. For me, growing up, I didn't really care too much about what my social group cared. I care what my social group thinks, but for the most part, they didn't have that much control over me. But the thing that really held me back was my family. I had this idea of how my family was and how things would be when I'd be doing certain things in my life, or I would get some kind of success. That wasn't the case. We all had to deal with different things. And for my background, me being an athlete, people just saw me as an athlete. I don't come from the best economic background, so a lot of people don't even graduate from high school, so they see me as like a dork and really try to shame me for basically going out the academic route and doing something that people don't necessarily do in our community, and that's outside of the norm. So the thing that I got really, when I played D1 college football, and when I decided that I was going to stop my professional pursuits and focus on school, I did have a few people tell me like, hey, don't give up on your dreams, yada yada. But it got to the point where I would be making, if I were to go the arena route, or if I were to go the Canada route, I would be making less or just as much money as I would have been if I just went and got my master's. And then, when people they hear that I'm a software developer, they see me as weak, unfortunately. So what you're going to have to do, there's people within your family group, you have your immediate group, and you have people that's like expanded within your family that you talk to every now and then. This is what I did. What I did is I actually completely cut off some people, to be honest. Initially, I was kind of, I was in the mindset of maybe I can convince them, I can talk to them about that. But people who think like that, you got to understand that they've been thinking that way, not necessarily about you, but they've been having these negative thoughts in their head, even about themselves, for a long period of time, for years, and it's been a part of their mental pattern. So then they saw you doing something, and then they try to make you a part of that mental pattern. Now, by letting those people in your life, you start, not only do you get criticized, you start to think like these people. So for me, I've actually had to cut off some family members. There's some people who I don't speak to, and I have no reason to even continue that relationship. And there are a few family members that, honestly, the cousins that I grew up with, that I love, that I just had to put some distance between me and them. And a lot of people who do this stuff, they don't mean, like some of them mean to hurt you, but some of them really don't mean to hurt you, but they're not going to change. And then you have to ask yourself, like, what's more important, your success, your mental health? And if that's the case, if you want to do something like this, because becoming a software engineer, especially if you're self-taught, it's going to be hard for you to break your pattern and actually to do something new. We already know how hard it can be for some people to lose weight, and that's because they already have a pattern. And it's the same thing when you are going on into a new career. You're going to change your pattern, and if you have people holding you back, it's best to just distance yourself or cut them off. You also have to realize that everybody's not meant to be in your life forever, and this isn't a negative thing. This isn't even a bad thing. I used to think that my friends that I had in grade school are going to be my friends that I live and I die with, but that's not the case. I really a lot of the books that I read a lot of books on spirituality, self-improvement, and one of the things that I've come to realize is that people are meant to be in your life for a season. Sometimes a few years. And the reason that happens is because we have people who are supposed to help us grow. We meet women, we have relationships. If that relationship doesn't work out, that's not a bad thing. You're supposed to take these relationships and say, okay, if somebody, especially if you're in a romantic relationship with somebody for a long period of time, or if it was a friendship for a long period of time, there's a good chance that relationship was good the majority of the time, but at some point in time, you guys grew apart. So by maintaining that relationship, you're only going to add friction to the relationship. You're going to add more poison into your life. So you have to realize that sometimes people, you're meant to keep your distance. It's important for you to keep your distance away from some people. Sometimes you just have to break away. One thing that I had to learn is when I would be doing something different in my life, I would try to tell my friends about it and try to see, like, hey man, I had this new diet, hey, you should check it out. Hey man, I'm doing this, maybe you should check it out. I would try to change the relationship that I had with these people, and that was my fault. You have to learn how to relate to certain people. If you want to be a software developer and your social group isn't necessarily full of like techie guys, and you try to talk to them about that stuff, it's not that they're wrong, it's that they built a relationship with you on a different foundation. So if you're going to relate to those friends, you need to learn to stick to certain topics that they can actually add to your life. And if you are into tech, if you are in software development, you're going to have to find another group of people who are also into software development. If you don't have anybody close to you, just follow software development channels on YouTube. People, even though you're not physically with those people, the fact that you have your own goals as far as software development, and these people are speaking about software development, it's only going to encourage you more to actually become a software developer. Another thing you have to learn to do, and this is something I'm learning to do, is actually keeping your goals to yourself. Like for me, when I'm really excited about something, I want to tell the world about it. I'll do it, I'll tell everybody about it, and then, when people come and hate on me, I'll fight them off, But I'm kind of hurting myself by even opening up the space for that. The best thing you can actually do is actually, once you have an idea, is to just pursue it. If if it's a goal, it can be outside of software development, it could be anything, but just keep it to yourself, because when you keep things to yourself, it allows you to stay focused, which is most important, and you just don't let outside influences come in and hurt your spirit or, disturb your thoughts. Now, that's all I have to say. On this topic. Hopefully you found this helpful. Like, comment, subscribe. I know this is different from the norm, but when you're making a big move in your life, it's not necessarily the work that you put into it that's going to make the difference. It's about creating the right environment so that you can actually become the person that you will ultimately want to be. But anyways, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.